In this video, we will be explaining how to create and interpret histograms within Microsoft Excel using real examples as we go along so you can see how histograms are best used to show data. What is a histogram? In Excel, a histogram is defined as a column chart that shows frequency data. A histogram is used for interpreting continuous data. An example of this is the time that customers spend waiting in a queue on a helpline, as this data can take any value: 400 seconds, 32.13 seconds, 0 seconds, or anywhere on the scale rather than being confined to certain values. Similarly, the salaries of every employee within a company is another example of continuous data. Other data sets are called discrete data, where only certain values are possible. An example of discrete data might be feedback ratings on a scale of 1 to 10, as people can only choose whole numbers. Note that the correct graph type for discrete data is a bar or column chart. For a histogram, you divide the continuous data into classes, called bins, and record the frequency of each class. Excel does this for you. In Excel's histograms, the height of the column is equal to the frequency of that class. So if 50 people waited from 0 to 30 seconds, then you would have a column height of 50 for the class 0 to 30. When to use a histogram? Histograms are best used to show how data sets are distributed. Shown here are 3 different types of histograms, but there are many other distributions that your histogram may follow. We can instantly see what pattern our data follows, so histograms should be used when you have a lot of data that is hard to decipher when left as just numbers. For example, if you know the length of time spent by people reading each article on your website, you could plot a histogram to show the time spent on each, as shown here. This method of data representation also makes it easy to identify outliers or significant changes to any data set. The Article 1 histogram showed most people spending very little time on the website. We can see this because the highest bars are on the left side of the chart, which represents the shorter times. However, the Article 2 histogram is slightly different. Firstly, the scale is bigger, which means that the number of people visiting the article is greater. Secondly, the largest bar is at the far right of the chart, which represents the longest time. In this case, it's greater than 600 seconds, or 10 minutes. This means that those people have probably read the article, so we can see that Article 2 is more popular than Article 1. How to create a histogram in Excel. A histogram requires only one set of data. This could be age, salary, or height, for example. Here we're going to plot the total sales of different sales reps within a business. Once you have your data, select it and click Insert in the ribbon at the top of the page. Then click Recommended Charts and All Charts. Select Histogram on the left and click OK. Excel will now automatically create a histogram from your data, but the likelihood is that it won't be a great representation. In our example, the bin widths are too big, so we can't really see any trend in our data as there are only 3 bars. We want to be able to see more information in our chart, so we need to increase the number of columns. We do this by decreasing the bin width. Normally, you want to choose a width that is a round number, as it seems more natural to assign data into classes that are 10 or 5 units wide, for example. To modify the bin width, right-click on the horizontal axis and select Format Axis. Select Bin Width and change your value to the desired width. Alternatively, you can select the number of bins you would like and Excel will automatically assign bin widths at regular intervals. Usually this is less useful, however, as bins won't always be divided into nice numbers. If your lowest data point is not a round number like now, Excel will create bins starting from your lowest point, which isn't always helpful. If you want the bins to be divided such that the boundaries lie on more round numbers, you can use the underflow bin option. If you tick this box and select a value which is greater than your smallest value in your data set, the next bin will start from this number that you've selected. Given that our chosen bin width is £5,000, it's sensible to choose 5,000 as our underflow bin value, so that all our bins have the same width. Now that we have our data represented in a way that we can interpret, it's a good idea to add axis labels so you know what is shown on the chart. Under Chart Tools and Design in the ribbon, select Add Chart Element, then Axis Titles and Primary Horizontal. Then edit the text that appears to the title of your original table. Ours will be Total Sales. Repeat this process for the primary vertical axis, but label this Frequency. It's a good idea to add a chart title that describes the chart, and it means someone else can instantly know what the histogram is telling them. In our example, a suitable title could be Sales by Sales Rep. You can customize how your chart looks in the Chart Styles section of the Design tab. Interpreting histograms. Histograms show two main things: location and spread. Location includes things such as where your data points lie, i.e. which bin has the highest frequency or the lowest frequency. In our example, the bin with the highest frequency is the less than or equal to 5,000 bin, and the one with the lowest frequency is the 5,000 to 10,000 bin. Without a histogram, it would be difficult and time-consuming to work out which category was the most common. Spread is how far your data is distributed. In our example, it's clear that the highest frequency bin is the less than or equal to 5,000, which means that more sales reps fall into that category than any other category. However, there is a big decrease to the 5,000 to 10,000 bin, and then a general increase as the total sales increase from 5,000. The more data you have, the easier it is to spot the trend in your data, as you can have more bins. We can see this much more clearly in our time spent on website example. The Article 1 histogram shows that there are many more people who are spending very little time on the article than there are actually reading the article. However, Article 2's histogram is slightly more interesting. Although there is still a high proportion of people spending very little time on the article, there is an increase in number of people spending more time on the article after the 242nd mark. We can see from this that there are many more people actually reading the article, and it is therefore more successful. Here we are back at our histogram, and we're all done. It will even update if you modify any of your data. To recap, histograms are a great way to display simple continuous data and allow you to spot trends in and analyse your data much more effectively than a simple spreadsheet. They can be used in many different scenarios, including displaying busy and quiet times throughout the day of business inquiries, showing the time taken between an initial inquiry and an order, and showing the call wait times on a customer service helpline. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and hopefully you've learnt something new. If you have any further inquiries about histograms in Excel, or indeed any of our other videos, please feel free to leave a comment on this video or visit our website at www.software-matters.co.uk and fill in a contact form. Microsoft Office is our thing, and we'd be delighted to help. Thanks for watching.